would you say that investment in photography pays off?
First of all, thank you, Michael, for having me. It's an honor to be invited and everything. I'll say yes, it pays. It's all about hard work. It's all about consistency. It's all about like picking a proper, like a unique way of expressing yourself. I'll say, I've been into art in general and also specifically photography for over 10 years now. And through the years, I've learned to kind of, get my style precise. And when you get there, definitely people call you and identifies you with a certain, pattern and a certain style, which actually makes you more recognizable. Okay.
Very interesting. You started out in photography at age 21 with a rather very smaller piece of take, 2 megapixels, very small. But now that you've actually grown and become a hard-on photographer with your own exhibition, tell me more about this refuge. What does it really mean? Which stories are you trying to tell here?
Okay, I'll try and make it short. First of all, I'm a refugee in Rwanda. I've been here for the past couple of years, for over 3 years now, and that journey made me reflect on refuge and how people like deal with their place of safety. Because that's for me, that's a refuge for me. It's a place of safety, place of happiness, place of place of peace, and place where you feel accepted and protected. And going from there, it was also a way to kind of take a bigger picture, I'll say, because I didn't want to only focus on refuge as a physical state or a physical place, but also refuge. Refuge could be a person.
Yeah.
A refuge could be a dream, an aspiration, a mentor. A refuge could be your family. And so taking all those things together, putting everybody, we live in a context, we are now in a context where we're telling a story, we should be more inclusive as well. That's so, through the project, that's what I tried to do.
Now, that's very interesting, but it's still being put out there across the board that, photography is expensive. The equipment itself, the professional equipment, not the telephones or, everyone having a camera becoming a photographer, but being a professional photographer is a bit expensive because it comes with lights and professional cameras and all of that, but hasn't maybe really paid off. Would you say that at this point in time, you've been able to create enough out of your profession?
I'll say yes and no, because
why?
Also I think that this is a process. It has been going on for a while now, and also it's also about changing people's mentality and perspective on what art in general means. We kind of often put in a second zone, and now also having phones and other equipment being cheaper, people think no, I'm just gonna snap it and it'll be fine. We invest, like you said, you invest a lot of money into equipment. We invest a lot of money into cameras, not just camera, but also a computer that has to be fast enough to edit or export those pictures and so on. I'll say personally for me, yes, it's been going on for, it's been growing. For instance, the last project was, I'll say 90% or to self-finance. So I took time to work and put a part of that money into producing a project that was dear to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that should be now the perspective I would say think. Artists should be more and more independent and more focused on actually giving themselves and our field the respect it deserves.
Talk to me about professionalism, Chris. You've worked with the Journal in Rwanda, filming stories, putting out new stories about Rwanda, about Africa in perspective. Are we still lacking professional photographers? And if yes, what is the biggest problem? Is it lack of infrastructure or training facilities for them?
Oof. Yeah, I'll say it's important. Yeah, it's important to go toward that more also pedagogical direction, and to have people with that aspiring to be photographer actually going through a process and thing. Yes, there are photographers out there, but there is also a lack of good photographer. I don't know. Okay, and then again, it depends on the perspective and the maturity of the person. I think we're trying to, and also it's a generation thing in a way where people are actually kind of rushing into calling themselves photographer or media, or everybody want to give an opinion, everybody want to give a perspective or tell a story, which is good, but also kind of in a way dangerous as well, because we kind of lose the core of what storytelling is, or actually taking time to learn, to go through the process, to learn the process, to master it, and not just to be focusing on the technical part, but also to learn how to tell a better story, how to capture it, how to develop your own style. I kind of insist, always go back into that, but it's important to have a style. So yes and no again. There are great photographers, but we can improve. It's not because it's working that we cannot improve and fix things and make it better.
Finally, Chris, if you were to change the way that photographers are perceived, even by bigger brands, what would you do today?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Yeah. I would say go with be more. Yeah. Okay. Be. I'd say, and having a specific. That's the word in English. Oh gosh. Yeah, but okay, just having a more like focused perspective on matters. I'll say if you are a more artsy, art photographer, you develop your style and focus on it and do it better, do it best. Get to the top of your field, and when you are a photojournalistic, okay, also like developing to the, and kind of I say it is more getting into precise kind of and like share and focus on our field better, I say.
All right.